Okay, now as we see, the installation was complete, and now it prompts you to choose a default explorer. Now it knows that Internet Explorer is a default explorer, but I do not want to use that, so I will click on, do you want to choose a different browser? So I'll say yes, so that I want to choose a different browser. Now you have to be careful when you click on yes, because you have to go into your C drive and find out where your actual application is. So it'll usually be in program files, Google, Chrome. Click on application, and this is application, see, Chrome. So that is the application. So click on open. Then it asks, should Notepad be the default text editor? Now unless you have a pre-built HTML text editor, I'd say it's pretty good to just stick with Notepad. So make those changes as applicable and as you like. Most of them do like Internet Explorer for some weird reason, so kudos to you. Okay, so as you saw right there, one by one all the applications within WAMP will get started. So as I said, it's built with 4 applications built into one. So what are those for? Those are the MySQL server, which I already covered in the previous video. The next one is the Apache Tomcat, which was also used, and then it is the PHP program support, which helps us to compile PHP programs. And in the end, there's one other database software called MariaDB, which we will not be using, but that is also another convenient software that has been included into the WAMP server. So as you can see, it's been installed, WAMP right here. And so the first time, just double click on it to start WAMP, click on yes, and after you click on yes, it will open like so. And as you can see, to note that it is opened, you find this icon at the bottom right. Now if you did pay attention, first it was red, then it went into orange like so, and soon it will go into green. Now what those denote is, since I said it has 4 software running inside it, it will start each one of those software one by one. And when it goes green like this, it means all of the software are running successfully. So you have to wait until it becomes green, or else you need to change some settings to find out why it didn't run. Okay, so as you can see, there's MariaDB, there is the MySQL, then there is PHP, Apache, and there is this www directory. Now this is the directory where you will store all your files. So don't just store it right here, because it already has an index and other options. Just right click and create a new folder right inside here. I need to create a new folder with the name of the project that you're going to create. As you can see, I have to do it with administrator privileges. So the new folder, I will just name it example. Okay, so that's your project folder. So double click on that, and whatever you do in your project, it should be stored inside here. Just like in Java, where we had web content as a folder inside which we stored everything, here it's a www folder. Okay, so let's start working. Now just click on the WAMP icon right there, and you find so many options. Now don't worry about any of these. You have the top 2, localhost and PHP myadmin. Now localhost will take you to the home page of the WAMP server. So let's click on that, and it will open in your default browser that you've chosen. So since I chose Chrome, it will start off in Chrome. Now just like last time, we can prepare our database while that starts. So it will be the same database that I've created last time. So it will be create database example semicolon use example, and the next one is create table users within the brackets user ID of varchar of length 10 and password which is also varchar of length 10. So once it's done, semicolon right there, and we shall give an insert into users values. So we'll just give root and comma within double quotes again, sorry, within double quotes root. So that's it, and a commit statement at the end. So we've again created this. I haven't mentioned the primary key, sorry, primary key of user ID. Okay, so we've created the table again. We will use this later, so I'll just minimize this. So as you can see, this is the home page of WAMP server, and inside this, I mean, all this shows all the features of it, but none of them are meant for you. So as you can see, MySQL runs on 3306 port number and Apache runs on port number 80. Now this is how it's defaultly made, and if you have any problems, you should be able to change it later on. So let's not go into that right now. I'll cover that little later, but let's just start working on the project. So click on PHP MyAdmin and it should take you to the PHP MyAdmin page. Now you can either reach this page like that, or go to WAMP and click on PHP MyAdmin directly. It should also redirect you to the same page immediately. So we'll just take one instance of this. So by default, the PHP MyAdmin has root as the username and a blank space as password. So don't enter anything in the password field, and choose MySQL or as the database and click go. So once you click go, it should take you to the home page of the PHP MyAdmin. Now this is a GUI based database creation center. So what a GUI based database creation center is, you can click on objects and create a database like that. Now that is one way to create a database. So since we already created it, we will just copy all this, and to create it, just go onto the SQL tab, find a notepad type box right here. So inside that we can just paste, so sorry, I will copy that for previous suppose. It doesn't allow you to paste easily, so no problems, we can create again. So create database. As you can see, it has autofill built into it, so that helps a lot. Create database example, use example, create table users, and inside that we had user ID of varchar of length 10, comma, password of varchar of length 10 with primary key being user ID. So that statement is done, and next statement is insert into users values. Insert into users values, you're going to insert root, comma, root, semicolon, and I wonder why that's happening. So we just execute these many statements first, and then we can give commit. So go. Oh yeah, the ending quote had a problem right there, sorry. Okay, so that error is done, so I'm just gonna create database example. I'll create database example. Database already exists. So if database example already exists, that means we can't create it. So we can at least maybe create users within that. No database selected, so should have used use example. Okay, so we'll just go on there. The table users already exist, so I need to check. So I've already created this one, so it doesn't allow me to choose that. So I'll just give drop database example. Now this should clear up everything. So it's been dropped. Okay, so now you're free to create it again. So create database example, use example. So I'm really sorry about all of the problems that I faced before, but none of them were intentional. Just letting you know that I'm doing this with all kinds of problems that anyone can face. So create table users with values as user ID with var of length 10, comma password with var of length 10 with primary key as user ID. Okay, so done with that. Then insert into users values. As you can see, it does pretty much all the autocomplete that you'll need. Now this is pretty much simple syntax, so why do you need autocomplete when you have that? So root comma root double quotes, sorry about that, both within double quotes. So there it is, so it's complete. So I'll just click on go, and there it is. So database has been created, database has been selected, table has been created, and values have been inserted. So all of this is done, and as you can see, whenever you create a database, it gets updated on this left side panel as example, and inside that there is users which also got initialized. So there it is, and you can click on these to browse them. Now when you click on browse, it shows you what and all is there, what has been entered into it, what are the different things that you can do. You can see, so this was one way, the SQL was one way to create something. Now let's just create one more database called example1. So how do you do it? With the clickable interface. So do you do it is you click on new right here, we'll create a new database. So we'll name it example1. Example1. Don't worry about collation and the rest, so just click OK. So create, and then create a table name. So this I will again give it as users only with just 2 fields, and click on go. Now the first one is called user ID. So these are all the attributes that are going to give inside. So this is how you enter them: user ID and password. Both of them are integer types, and the default you can set them as null or current timestamp, and with attributes collation, and if you want to set them as primary, just click on null index and click on primary. So that becomes the primary key. Column is primary key. I haven't given it the size, so I have to give it as 10, and then give it go. Okay, so the size of this is 10, size of this is also 10. Then I can just preview the SQL statement, which will give me a preview of this. So I shouldn't have given the primary key like that. So reinitialize primary key without any length, can go. Okay, yeah. So I create a table example1 dot users with user ID as integer of 10, I've chosen integer, sorry about that, default integer, so both of them have to change to varchar. So user ID of varchar 10, password varchar 10, default is not null, that has been set on both, and so it gives you the preview just to check if everything is in proper shape, and then click on save. And as you can see, oh, there have been a couple of errors. What is that? So it doesn't matter, just click on ignore. Hopefully it's been created. Key name is user ID, that's been created, and password, that's also been created. So both of them have been created, so don't worry about that. And now we can insert. Now how do you insert here? You just click on insert right there, and it gives you this interface where you can insert. So the function, don't worry about that, just enter the value. So I will give it as root, and I will give this as root as well. And then if I click on go, it gives you the preview and also says that it's already been inserted. So it's been inserted. Now one most important feature about SQL is that you can bundle all of this database into a single file, take it to another computer, and open up the database altogether along with all the values that you've inserted into it. Now how do you do that? To do that, click on export, and inside export just say quick and SQL format. So this will export the users table. So the users table.sql has been exported. I will just show this in folder so that it will be easy for me to know where it's been saved. It's in computer local disk downloads, so good on that. So that's where I've exported this table. So I'll just drop this table. So I'll just give a statement called, I don't need to give a statement either, I mean on this clickable interface I just need to say drop and the primary key, and click OK, and the primary key will be dropped. And if I want to drop the entire table, I can just say, I can just click on this one. I will just go to the database. You need to go to the database to drop a table. So I'll just click on drop table. I'm going to drop the table. So the table has been dropped. So I've completely lost the table, you think. But since I've already exported it, I can import the table now. So I'll say import. I will choose a file. So you have to go into the same file where it is. Click on the MySQL file, click on open. Don't worry about any of this, all of these have been made pre-done. Then you say go, and as soon as you say go, all of a sudden whatever you had just dropped has all been saved and has been retrieved. So this is how you copy an entire database. You just have to copy the .sql file from one system to another, and your entire database comes with you wherever you want. So fine, so that was a small, and this will also work in the MySQL other interfaces as well, where you can import and export. In the MySQL workbench as well, you can import and export in the similar fashion. But that's pretty much it to my PHP admin. So we can get this thing closed. My PHP admin, we do not need this now. Okay, so now that we are done with the database, we have to make the login HTML and PHP files. Now login HTML file is similar to the same HTML file that we did for Java, because HTML is same all over the place. So let's create the HTML file now. So it will be HTML tag first, followed by a form tag with action equal to, now whatever is written within the form tag will be taken as input data and will be sent to the address that you're going to mention inside the action. So the address is localhost colon 8080. Sorry, this isn't the best way to mention it. The full address would be, you can just say localhost, but the full address would be http colon backslash localhost 8080 slash, what is the name of the project? So it will be example and slash index.php. Now if you were there for the previous video, you'd know why I name it as index, because if you name the first HTML file as index, as soon as you call the project, the HTML file will get executed. And I will also put the method is equal to post. Now the post method will hide whatever details that you enter inside the form. Since you are entering username and password, it needs to be hidden, so the post method will hide that. If you use the default get method, wherein you have to say method equal to get, or if you don't mention method at all, it will be default get, then whatever you type will be visible in the URL that you're calling. So it's always safe to use the method post. Okay, and now I will use a center tag so that whatever I type will be displayed right in the middle of the web page, and within that I will give a couple of BRs. Now BR is used to press enter key, or I mean like leave a line, next line. So these are the next line tags. So I'll give a few of these, so you can just give them in any way. You can just give them in one line, or you can give them one below the other. It does not matter, they're just tags. HTML is very flexible in all this, so I'll just give 6 of them because I have an entire page to play with. So inside this we'll display username colon. So this will, whatever you don't display within a tag will just be printed just like that. So I'll just say username colon, so that will give me a heading, and inside that I will next to that I'll say input type is equal to text. So when you type this, it will give you a input text box, a box inside which you can enter text. So input type equal to text, name is equal to user ID. So name is equal to user ID. Now when you say name is equal to user ID will be the variable name which will store whatever you enter inside. So if I type any user some username, it will be stored under this variable name, and I can access it in the index.php file using this name. Now there's one other cool feature about HTML called placeholder. Now placeholder will create a default backside entry inside the text box. Like say when you log into Facebook, it says enter username, enter password within the text box itself, and as soon as you start typing, those characters go away. So those are done using this method called placeholder. So inside placeholder I'll say enter user ID. So there we go. So we're done with username, and next we type password. Right here I have to give BR tags, or else these things will be printed on the same line. So I'll give a couple of BR tags so that there's enough spacing between each one of these text boxes. Password input type is equal to pass. Now this is a special type of text box. This is a special type of text box which will replace whatever you type inside it with bullet points. So this is a special type of text box meant only for passwords. And name is equal to pass, and I'll give placeholder is equal to enter password. Okay, and again I will give a few BR tags to give some spaces. Okay, so next line we will create a submit button. So input type is equal to submit. Now submit is the data type for button. So any kind of button you want to display in HTML, you have to say input type equal to submit. Name is equal to button, Now this is very important to give name, because if you have 2 or 3 buttons like go back or log out, you need to know which button did you click. As soon as you click on a button, whatever you've entered or not entered will be sent. So any kind of submit button will just directly redirect it to the other file. So you need to name the buttons accordingly to find out which button was pressed later on. Since we just have one button, it doesn't matter if I give a name, but I'll just give a name so that it follows convention. So type equal to submit, name is equal to button, and next we say value. Now value is what will be displayed inside the button. So you want to create a button with the words login inside it. So to create that, you just use the function value and say equal to login. So login will be displayed within the button. Now since we are done, we'll have to close all the tags. So close the center tag. You have to close them in the same in the reverse order that you created them. So the last one that was created should be closed first. So the center tag was the first one. These BR tags do not need any closing, or the input tags, they work fine even without closure, but it's good to close the other tag. So \form and \HTML. So the HTML page has been created. Now where do you save this HTML page? So when I click on save, I have to save it inside that example. As you can see, it is my C, within C drive. WAMP64 is the folder for WAMP. Inside that there is a www file, or you can, as I said, you can also click on www file from here. That's one of 2 ways. So that's where the www file is stored. Open the project name, and inside that store this as all files, and then say index.html. Okay, so done. So when you click on save, you don't have permission, so it's stored it in my document. So fine, it's been stored right there. So I'll just select this and I say save, replace that one. So I have to give myself permission, so I'll just give me a second. So as I give myself permission to store inside the www file, just right click on this. If at all you don't have permission, if at all using a second account, then you won't be given permission so easily. So I have to give myself permission. I have to click on share. Your folder can't be shared, sadly. Sadly it can't be shared. So it's been default read write. I'll just remove the read write, and from documents where I have index.html, I'll just copy this. Oops, sorry about that. And inside the www directory, inside the example file, I will paste it. Continue. So there it is, it's been pasted. So I've gotten admin rights now. Happy, yay! So index.html has been created. Now let's create the PHP file. So now PHP programming is similar to how JSP works. So when you want to create a PHP file, it will be in this similar manner.